3 tailgate. And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Danny Kanell. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and you see those sirens in your feed. You know exactly what that means. Woo, it is not the middle of September, and we have 2 mid-season power conference coach firings. We're not waiting any longer. 0-3, cut and bait. UCLA makes it official. Early reporting started in the mid-morning. Matt Zenitz was on it, but UCLA, yeah, we're not even going to drag this out. Here's the official release. Tim Skipper's going to be the interim. Let's go. Virginia Tech, same thing. Zenitz was on it, saw a lot of reporting, and very quickly the university comes out. Brent Pry, that you are going to be out. So now Virginia Tech, UCLA, we've got to see what went wrong, where they move forward. Obviously, the immediate future, you have to still play 9 football games. Oh, and also, you know,
we still have to watch 9 football games too.
Eventually, you know, there will be a proper coaching search. DK, do either one of these jobs look to you like something where we are going to be able to go through the list of candidates seriously until later in the season? Do you have anybody who's not working who you think could step in and maybe be an early November or mid-November hire?
I mean, do you want John Gruden or Jimbo Fisher? You want either of those guys? I mean,
Matt Brown. Does Matt Brown? He said he wanted to keep coaching.
Oh gosh, I don't know if he would. I mean, Jimbo has ties to West Virginia. I know it's not there in Blacksburg, Virginia, but I think it actually would maybe be enticing to him. I think Virginia Tech is the better job of the two. I think both of them are more attractive in the coming years than they are currently because of the rev share. Like, I think it's going to help things. And you only had 1 year really to experience it. And we've talked a lot about other schools loading up in the NIL market before the rev share rules went into place. So there's still a little bit of disparity. But as things do start to level out a little bit, I think these jobs get more attractive for the next coach that's going to come in there.
Is this job that attractive?
Which one?
Virginia Tech.
I think Virginia Tech is more attractive than UCLA, even though UCLA is a Big Ten school.
I would argue that immediately, yes. But both schools currently have big time problems. And when Virginia Tech opened, when Brent Pry was hired, there wasn't exactly a ton of people interested in taking the gig. And I don't think the situation has improved since they hired Brent Pry. UCLA has a ton of problems too. Like they don't have any money. They don't have any real fan interest. And you're in the Big Ten, but you're in the Big Ten. You know there's going to be money coming. When the ACC blows up in 5 years, if Virginia Tech keeps heading down this path where the program's downsliding and going the wrong direction, when Florida State and Clemson jump ship and North Carolina jump ship and the ACC scrambling for votes, how attractive is Virginia Tech going to be?
I mean, the reason why I'm pointing because of fan interest and overall football culture. That's why, as a matter of personal preference, I think that Virginia Tech would be more attractive, because while your annual media rights payout check is not the same, man, you're just going to get a little bit of a better response. Even if that hat is not heavy when you're trying to pass it around and drum up support and, you know, get the local community going, you've still got something. And the problem is, and this is why I do think Virginia Tech moved, is that you are really risking losing it. That the fans that have continued to show up, the fans that still, you know, they might not love inflation, right? They might not love that the cost of everything is going up. They thought they could still pay the Frank Beamer prices and get Frank Beamer results. But at least they still are connected to this. And I think if Virginia Tech allowed Brent Pry to continue just an embarrassing, like an outright embarrassing football product, then I think that you would really risk losing some of the supporters that were still hanging on.
No, you couldn't let him keep going after what happened yesterday. Like, that team did not give a crap about playing against Old Dominion. That team's so completely checked out on him, on that staff. If you didn't fire him today, you risked losing to Wofford next week if they showed up with that same level of effort.
For both of these teams. I mean, I think it was fairly obvious and easy for both of these programs to make the decision now. I know Deshaun Foster was quicker, but considering the bumpy start, like, he just looked a little bit overwhelmed. And I think we all love the storyline because he played there. I don't know how many great options they had in the coaching cycle, so they took one of their own. But it did just feel like he was overwhelmed. And even this year at Big Ten Media Days, while I liked him a lot, I didn't really see that much difference. You know, like, I still felt somebody who wasn't as comfortable being in the spotlight, being the face of the university. It just felt a little bit off. You know, it just felt kind of off. It felt like somebody was a little bit overwhelmed being a head coach of a major program. You know, the thing that's interesting about Virginia Tech, and why I would say, you know, why I think this is a better job, I think you've got a better chance of winning quickly. And if you do, and the ACC does blow up, you can evaluate your options being, where are we? If you go to the group of 5, what is the playoff picture like? Like, are you still going to get access if you're deemed a group of 5 school, which we don't even know how it works, like what remains after the exodus of schools from the ACC. And if it doesn't, and you've won there, you might be an attractive hire for somebody else in the new power schools.
Yeah.
And the one thing that is going Virginia Tech's way is that while the coaching on game day led to losses and the players seem to be completely checked out on the staff, Brent Pry was recruiting better at Virginia Tech as it went on. The talent level of that roster, which had been slipping under Justin Fuente considerably, had been improving. The problem is it's still below where it once was.
For this year's team, the problem is that I gave Virginia Tech so many bonus points for South Carolina, and then evidence afterwards suggests that South Carolina also maybe wasn't a top 15 team. So how much can we even take away? But I agree with you in general. When Brent Pry showed up, he inherited a little bit of a mess from Justin Fuente, our new director of football for the college football playoff. Congratulations, Justin. But man, so it was 3-8 year one. He's slowly building that thing up and never was able to fully break through. Even when he had everything going in the right direction. The hire of Philip Montgomery was supposed to lead to this big offensive turnaround, and it's just not there. Philip Montgomery is going to be the interim coach here for Virginia Tech. Do anything for you?
No.
The rest of the way?
No. I mean, Philip Montgomery was in a very tough spot at his previous head coaching job, but it's not like there was anything that he did there that made you think that he's going to be the guy who can turn this season around and save it.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be there. His job will be to convince some of these kids not to enter the portal and just stick it out through the rest of the season.
Yeah. Just to not, because do you know what we unfortunately are in right now?
The window.
No, we haven't played 4 games.
Oh. Like in red shirt.
God, why don't you? I mean, maybe you should have waited 2 more weeks. I don't know. You know, like, I don't know how you play that. But I think we mentioned last night when we were talking about this. Oh, Danny, did you listen to us on a run this morning?
You know, I did happen to catch that. I just was really mad that you assumed I wasn't watching my lock of the week. I thought I found my duck, and then Stanford just shocks the world with the win over BC. I'm surprised you didn't think I was up watching that and running this morning.
That's it brings us no pleasure to announce that BC might stand for booty cheeks once again.
Yep. How about Stanford though? Last year they beat Louisville out of nowhere. Like, they're just the season killer. Maybe that's all they're going to be, is just like somebody that pops out of nowhere and just destroys somebody's season. With the trip all the way out to Palo Alto, that is a perfectly fine role for Stanford to play. Like, every ACC team that travels out there, you know what it is? It's like Russian roulette. It's like Stanford roulette.
They're going to have 4 ACC home games against teams that are coming in. One of them's going to lose. We'll see.
Not including Hawaii, just mainland schools. Like Boston College to Stanford has to be one of the longest road trips in the country, right? Like there's how many teams are further east than Boston College, and then how many are further west than Stanford?
UCLA to Rutgers is up there.
I would say Boston College to UCLA would be
Yeah,
further.
it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, Boston College to Palo Alto.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's like not just in conferences. I'm just feeling like that might be like top 3 most distance traveled for a road game.
Yeah.
Mainland.
Of these moves that are made, I do think, which interim coach has a better chance to turn this thing around or potentially play his way into the next head coach? Because Virginia Tech, they both have, who knows what you would describe as winnable games with these programs. But I do feel like you've seen better football out of Virginia Tech. They have Wofford this week, NC State, Wake before Georgia Tech. Like, is there a chance you could get hot and win 3 in a row? I don't think it's that crazy.
I don't know. I think you can argue Virginia Tech has the more manageable schedule. But even if you want to make the argument it's UCLA, you have to remember UCLA has now lost to UNLV in New Mexico.
Yeah, I know that because
right.
I was going to say Tim Skipper, who's the interim at UCLA. He was previously an interim coach at Fresno when Jeff Tedford had some health issues. He's been there. Philip Montgomery, as you mentioned earlier, Tom, has been a head coach himself. But I was thinking one of these guys has Nico, who I still think.
Does he?
Oh, do you think Nico checks out, or has that already been reported?
I don't know. I'm just saying the transfer portal window is open for everybody on these teams. If you're Nico and you feel like this thing is clearly not working out like you hoped it would, this could be, I'm not saying he's going to, but this could be an opportunity to maybe jump ship.
It wouldn't be it would not surprise me at all.
Mm-hmm.
I also wonder, that move had so many ripple effects that we're just discovering, because I don't even know how bad UCLA wanted Nico. I bet there was some pressure of, well, we have to take him. He's a 5-star and he wants to play for us and he's from here. And then you've seen a head coach fired because of it. You've seen Nico's career derailed because of it, and it depends. We'll see how it goes. But that would be the least surprising thing of all if he hopped in the portal or redshirted and shut this thing down. I think it'd actually be the smart thing for him to do.
Danny giving advice to a player to shut it down. What in the world is 2025 giving us? Somebody mentioned in the tailgate, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, but I am almost certain that a player could not transfer from UCLA to another team and play during this semester.
I believe that's the rule, but you can transfer.
Yeah. But they could transfer
in redshirt.
They could not compete.
Could they practice?
I don't know.
Because that could be really valuable practice to just go redshirt and get used to a new system and new teammates and then get ramped up next season. I don't even know if that's legal. Like, what happens with school? Like, you're already enrolled. Can you just enroll some? I never hear about school anymore, so I just assume that they can work around it.
And Nico's already taken a redshirt year, so I don't think he could redshirt again, or maybe he could. Who knows? The way the things are going in court, he could probably just, extenuating circumstances, get a red shirt.
He's about to have a Chandler Morris season. Sure, Chandler Morris career, playing at like 4 different schools. We'll see. How about, before we get any final thoughts on if Deshaun Foster or Brent Pry had an opportunity for success? We're talking about how both are very difficult positions. UCLA, we've mentioned the investment. We've seen the crowd shots out there at the Rose Bowl. Virginia Tech having the sobering conversations very publicly recently, where their athletic director is telling the university administrators our expectations don't match our investment, and pointing out that they're 11th in terms of football spending. Did either one of these coaches really have a chance, or do you think that we were probably headed that way because of the circumstances?
I mean, Brent Pry was pretty competitive in
Oh,
two
yeah.
games
That's the
versus
right
good
answer.
teams. Like they were, and that shows you the how fickle coaching is. I mean, they were in the game with South Carolina in the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, and a punt return. They were leading 20-10 against Vanderbilt, completely blew it. Like there is a scenario, and if they win those two games, they're probably playing a little bit harder against ODU. Like, so yeah, I do think that there was an opportunity for Brent Pry to play himself out of this and still be there. And yet, is it his fault that there's, Kyron Drones throws interceptions? I mean, it's your job to develop them.
1 in 12 in one-score games.
And a lot of that was due to coaching decisions, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just player decisions. I would argue that Deshaun Foster probably never had a chance because you think of the circumstances in which he was hired to begin with.
Yeah.
And then
Chip
going
into leaves, and isn't that a late in the cycle exit?
Oh, yeah. That's why he got the job. Because remember, like Deshaun Foster had never been a head coach anywhere. He'd been a grad assistant and a running backs coach. Now, all of a sudden, you're the head coach of a Big Ten program without an offseason to prepare.
Yeah, never had a chance. All right. Coming up on the other side, we look at the potential candidates, some of the options, and where these schools maybe should be looking for their replacements and their next head football coach and more. Next.
Name's Conrad Harrigan, family man. And if you cross my family, well, you'd better pray.
Mobland, new series streaming March 30th on Paramount Plus.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast, continuing to react here, emergency podcast for the double firing. UCLA moving on Deshaun Foster, Virginia Tech parting ways with Brent Pry. Now the fun conversations that fill group chats and message boards. Where they going to go? Where are they going to look?
I'm just reading a list, and it's just kind of funny because I think no one has any idea. But I'm looking at a list of UCLA's potential hires, and I see Kalen DeBoer on this list.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, what do you think he's going to get fired? Like, I mean, unless he gets fired, then yeah, I think it's a great option. Jed Fish at Washington. I don't know. I don't think that's very realistic. Like I
think it's a better job.
Yeah, it's a better job right now. They've made the playoffs a couple of times, in the past 10, 15 years. They've got Jonathan Smith. Would he come back to the West Coast?
He's got a better job.
I know.
And that's
Alex
the thing
Golesh,
too.
I think that was an interesting one, but like, is he that desperate? He's got a pretty good, like he might be able to be more selective.
And on the Virginia Tech side, we need to eliminate Shane Beamer talk right from the start. I understand.
It's the headline. It's the banner.
Why in the hell is Shane Beamer leaving South Carolina for Virginia Tech right now?
Listen,
he's had a better job.
You get
what
on
if he goes 6-6?
You get on that plane, Tom, and you go to Columbia, and you don't come back unless you've got Shane Beamer.
But who's he immediately compared to when he takes the job?
That's great.
His idol.
So the problem is Virginia Tech still thinks it can be what it was under Frank Beamer, and it hasn't been because it doesn't have the money to invest to make sure they can maintain that level. And then you go and hire Shane Beamer, who immediately is going to be expected to be his father. It's like, no, unless they got money, I can't do that. Nobody can. I don't think it's a very attractive gig. Shane Beamer should get a raise out of it, but he won't be taking the gig.
I don't know, Danny. I mean, South Carolina goes 6-6, 5.
That's what I was thinking.
And he starts looking around. He starts saying, "Who's in my corner? Who really loves me?" And Virginia Tech's calling. No, we'll love you, Shane. We'll love you forever. Maybe he can open up some of the investment. Sometimes you do need to get that heavy hitter to be able to convince people to cut a check.
Gosh,
it's got to start with Shane Beamer, Tom. That's where it's got to start.
I think so too. Did you guys watch the Netflix series and the SEC when his wife is talking to the camera and she said, well, Shane told me, when I took this job, it's not a matter of if I get fired, it's just when I get fired. Like that was, and they know it, like that is life in the SEC, and it's life everywhere in college football. But if it's an opportunity, kind of start fresh, set the bar lower, you exceed expectations, they love you. I don't think it's that crazy. I think clearly South Carolina is a better job, but I do think there is a unique nature to this one that I think he would listen. I don't know if he goes.
I think it'd be a mistake if he left for it. Unless he really feels like he's going to get fired at South Carolina. But even then, get fired. Let him pay you to go away and then take a new job.
You know who both of these schools should be calling? Pat Fitzgerald. Now that he's been cleared, I think he's probably the best available on the market.
I think Fitz would be a good fit at UCLA because
I do too, kind of.
At Northwestern, he took over the program that really wasn't the same kind of investment as the teams he was competing against. It's another private, well, it's not public. I'm sorry, it's not private, but it's another school with like higher academic, requirements to get in.
It's a good school. UCLA is a good school.
Yeah, not to the same level as Northwestern, but I do feel like he's a very good fit there. I also feel like Pat Fitzgerald would probably be a good fit at Virginia Tech too, because if they're going to be the lunch pail blue collar program, Pat Fitzgerald, that's the kind of program he's running.
A couple of people have put in the chat, Dan Mullen. If Dan Mullen continues to win, I think he'd be a great option for either. I feel like maybe he fits UCLA a little bit better than Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
But I think he'd be a good option at either one.
Yep. What about Jamie Chadwell for Virginia Tech?
Makes a lot of sense.
Man, I'm sure Jamie would love to get out of Liberty at this point because it's not going the way he'd hoped it would.
Yeah. I'm not ready to sell. I mean, to your point, Tom, it's not going the way that I expected it would go. Now, 2 years of this, like, whoa. What happened here? I thought you guys had more than everything, more talent, more everything. But it is not looking like they have a decided advantage right now on the football field. And it's not just a Caden Salter thing, obviously. But I still think he's a good football coach. So,
who both schools should consider?
Who?
Another coach? The coach that just beat UCLA to get Deshaun Foster fired.
Oh, Eck?
Yeah. He's won at Idaho, which was in a very bad spot at the FCS level after having to come down from the FBS. And now he's winning at New Mexico, who's on its second or third coach in 3 years, and he's had to completely overhaul the roster.
Yeah,
the entire roster left.
I'm with your theory. I would bet the former Wisconsin offensive lineman who seems to be out there doing cool stuff and giving you all the feels about what you can do. He might be in Madison at some point, but you got to give him a call. Well, I thought you were going to say, what about the team that just beat you? What about Ricky Ronnie? See, the problem is Virginia Tech has some sensible higher options that in the old days you'd be like, yeah, that's great. But in today's modern era, we want a heavy hitter. We want someone that's going to create a lot of buzz. And I don't know that's where it's a Dan Mullen or a Pat Fitzgerald or a Jimbo Fisher before it's a Ricky Ronnie or maybe even a Jamie Chadwell at this point. Jamie Chadwell and Ricky Ronnie are both in-state group of 5 coaches that seem to be pretty good and can coach some ball. But I don't think either one of those would be the wow factor that Virginia Tech might go for. It might be where the search ends up, after a long set of calls and interviews, but I'd bet it's not where they start along the way.
Are there any sitting Power 4 coaches that you think would leave for either of these jobs? Like if you're
a Big 12 or ACC coach,
or even but like if you, it'd be weird, but like if you're Jake Dickert at Wake Forest, does Virginia Tech seem like a better option? If you're Chris Kleiman and you seem to be getting in some hot water at Kansas State this year, do either of these schools seem like a better option to you right now?
I haven't done a good job of diagnosing how bad this is around Kansas State.
Right.
But the only way that I would see it from if we're going power conference to power conference, Scott Satterfield.
Reset the clock again.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Who are the reset the clock candidates?
Dave Aranda, maybe? It
feels very similar to what you had, though. I almost feel like they'll go an offensive guy.
Yeah, not Jonathan Smith.
See in the
Cignetti's
chat
not
somebody
leaving.
saying Cignetti to Virginia Tech. I know this sounds crazy, but right now I think I'd rather have the Indiana job than Virginia Tech because Indiana has money. They have financial support.
Indiana's portal hauls over the last 2 years have been way better than Virginia Tech's portal.
Yes.
Yeah. They're getting it's not just Curtis Rourke and Fernando Mendoza. They're getting offensive linemen from Notre Dame.
Mhm.
You know?
Like if he's leaving for Indiana, it's for a program that's currently in a much better situation than Virginia Tech.
Yeah. Shane Beamer. What about anybody? Who else would be in the mix for UCLA?
I don't know. I don't know how much money they have to go get a coach. That's part of the problem too, because that athletic department's been in financial trouble for a while. And that's part of the reason that played in going after Foster and not really, even after they hired him immediately, they just named him the full-time coach and never really conducted an actual coaching search because I don't feel like they thought they had the money to go get the kind of guy that they were going to need. I don't know that
Ozzie
they
had
have
an
it
issue
now.
one. D'Anton Lynn, USC's defensive coordinator.
Who they got? Who was the defensive coordinator at UCLA?
Yeah.
But he also is fully aware of how difficult it is to coach at UCLA.
Oh, what about Tony White?
Yeah. Don't. Nah, he's not a good candidate. Nah, he needs more time. He needs more time at Florida State.
You need to see him. We need to see him
him.
complete a full season before we can rely on him.
Also, I mean, can you go from former player to Tony White played there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go from former player to former player?
What about Will Stein?
Ooh.
Now, I think Will Stein would be wiser to wait because I do think, I mean, we've got 2 openings here today. We're going to see a lot more over these next couple of months. So I don't think Will Stein's going to rush for either of these jobs, but I think Will Stein is somebody who at UCLA, before he's able to bring in premier talent, would at least be able to get the most out of his offense and get you somewhat excited. And hell, maybe he'd even be able to get the most out of Nico.
Jim Mora.
Back to UCLA.
It's not the worst idea.
I think, you know what, Jim Mora to Virginia Tech's not the worst idea. I don't know if he's going to go back to UCLA though.
Jeff Monken to Virginia Tech. I mean, that's not like Jeff rode hot. Might be if that ends up falling on your plate, might not be bad. You think Virginia Tech goes coordinator? Glenn Schumann? Jim Knowles?
Schumann's going to leave for a head coaching job at some point. I just feel like he's waiting for the right SEC opportunity to do so. He's waiting for like an Arkansas or South Carolina or something like that to open where he thinks he can go do enough damage.
Yeah, but Fran
Faulkner. He's going to be, if Georgia Tech does what they should do, and if they're at minimum 10-2 and they're on the verge of the playoffs, his name is going to come up for a lot of jobs.
Bill Belichick?
No, Steve Belichick. And you have two Belichicks in the ACC. That's what you need. You don't need one. You need 2.
I mean, did you see Biff Poggi put up 60 on Central yesterday? He's been a head coach before. He's got experience in the Atlantic Coast area.
Yep.
He's got money too. Virginia Tech needs money. Come on.
John Summerall is going to wait out both of these, right?
I imagine so, especially considering Tulane. I mean, USF is still the front runner, but Tulane is right there on their ass for that G6 spot.
Somebody just got in the StreamYard. Somebody must have typed in a wrong StreamYard code.
In ours?
Yeah.
It's not
I don't
Bud?
get to see anymore.
Somebody's trying to get in on this get in on these candidates right here.
I do think Jimbo would consider Virginia Tech.
I mean, he's a West Virginia boy, so it's close to home.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what Jimbo's thinking right now? He's like, well, at least I have Virginia Tech. Then he spends the rest of the season trying to figure out what the landscape is looking like.
Right.
You know?
Problem
Speaking
is,
of money. I mean, he's got money.
Yeah.
He could help fund his own players for a little bit.
I just see Jimbo throwing like a 500 play playbook at Kyron Drones and it not going well.
No.
With the readers on and all the
Mhm.
papers spilling out over top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, now here's
Y'all never had peanuts and Coca-Cola? It's a West Virginia delicacy. Come on right now. Here, check it out. Yeah, the other piece of this, and I'm not qualified to give an in-depth analysis, but I can comfortably say both of these fan bases are furious at their respective athletic directors.
Yeah.
So we might also have that going on that these schools have to navigate here for just a little bit. But yeah, here in the immediate future, Tim Skipper will be the interim coach of UCLA as they begin what is just going to be an absolute gauntlet of the rest of the season. And then for Virginia Tech, I do think, Danny, to your point, there are at least some more winnable opportunities. That will be Philip Montgomery taking over as the interim right there. Oh, last one here, because I did see his face. Any chance VT goes Vic?
I mean, if Mike Vick ends up the coach at Virginia Tech, it's because the search went terribly. I just don't think he's got nearly the program can't be in this perilous position and then you hire somebody with no real experience. Maybe it ignites the fan base for a while, but if the results don't come immediately.
I know they lost their first game. Are they winning?
Norfolk State?
Yeah, like I think that kind of matters.
They played a couple FBS teams and gotten killed, I'm pretty sure.
Right. But I mean, I think that's a let it play out. But if he took them and had a pretty strong year in his first year, I think it's worth kicking the tires on.
Yeah, so they lost to Towson, they beat Virginia State, and then they got throttled by Rutgers yesterday. 60
offensive powerhouse Rutgers.
Yeah, Rutgers overs. That's where we're at. Tom, when you said that, I've got the very, very recent memory of the coaching search that happened in Chapel Hill in December. We're at the beginning of it. We're like, no way. No, absolutely not. And then sure enough, on that Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm on the phone with a former player, and he's like, I cannot believe that this has actually happened. Like we have landed in this position. So yeah, I'm not going to rule in this world. I'm not ruling out Michael Vick hired with a staff of experience and, huge in promises of investment and great press conference. And the whole university is like, how's it going to go? I don't know, but this is awesome. You just ride the wave of euphoria and nostalgia for everything that you can get. But long way to go before we would get to that point, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other final thoughts here?
I think Billy Napier's just staying quiet today. got the phone notifications turned off. He's just in a dark room, trying to ride out the storm.
That one, who are you going to throw to the Wolves with that schedule? Why do it now?
Yeah, I know, but
I know, but it wouldn't be shocking.
Do you want to set an over-under on when it happens?
Who do they got next? Miami?
Yeah, I still think it's that crazy that they could win some games.
I mean,
they were in the game last night. The quarterback threw 5 picks.
Yeah,
just
to me, that says far more about LSU, which remained at number 3 in the rankings today. Their next 3 games are Miami, Texas, and then A&M. If they get throttled in those games.
Right. I think the scores matter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If they get throttled against Miami, I think that would be an embarrassing, we got to do something.
This is probably better for upon further review, but Danny, I saw it suggested that all of the time and the injury management has maybe contributed to regression of just skills. He just hasn't gotten enough work in.
Totally. I mean, that's what it looked like to me. I said that on the pregame show yesterday morning. I'm like, it looks to me like a player doesn't have great continuity with his receivers. And he didn't get many reps at all. And you can study, you can watch film, and you can go through walkthroughs. It's not the same as real live reps, either in a spring game or in training camp during scrimmages. He just looks like somebody who's very, very rusty. And who knows? I mean, how do we know he's He's had a lot of injuries. His shoulder was something they tried to rehab and didn't do surgery. I also wonder how healthy he is. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. Not great from the quarterback on whom Florida rested a lot of their hopes for 2025. But that conversation and so much more will be a part of Mondays upon further review. So come and hang out 11 a.m. Eastern time. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Danny Kanell. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Bears suck.
Yeah, they do.